Real quick, y'all gotta excuse me. If I sound like I have something in my mouth, I do. It's a cough drop. But I wanted to talk about women who have a hard time speaking their truth. Women who were raised in families where it wasn't safe to speak their truth, express how they feel. Women who were raised and weren't allowed to be angry. No one took the time to understand your anger and offer compassion to you. Women who maybe went from this pattern with their parents to having the same pattern with their partner. I'm going to connect some dots really quickly to a past life experience of my own. This means that 9 times out of 10, you have a past life experience where your life was taken because you were accused of being a witch. And most of the time, the way that the lives were ended was through strangling, choking, suffocation, even suffocation from smoke inhalation for those who were put in fire. And what this does is it creates a scar in the throat chakra. And so if this is how you exited your physical body in a past life, when you come back in your next incarnation, you come back to heal that wound. But in order to do that, you must be born into a family that's going to trigger the existence of that wound. Because if that wound is never triggered into your awareness, it can't be healed because you don't know that it's there. Now, recently, just to add the personal experience that I mentioned, recently I found out that I have a lump that was found in my throat, a pretty big lump. And some years ago, I lost my baby sister, and she also had a lump in her throat. And so when I first discovered this, of course, I was emotionally pretty much distraught. After spending time with myself, all the things that I teach in my Turn Pain into Purpose course, going back through everything that I have learned and using my tools, I started to hone in on why so many women, whether it's a lump or maybe thyroid issues, these are signs of a witch wound. And it doesn't mean that you were doing anything wicked to people. You could have been a medicine woman. You could have been someone who was really good at growing fruits and vegetables, and they were bigger than everybody else's, and you were accused of using witchcraft. This is something that was really common. You could have been a doula and somebody who had ancestral intelligence of how to help women in labor, and you were accused of being a witch. You could have been someone who had a goddess frequency, and so maybe there was an impact that you had on men, and other women accused you of being a witch and putting some type of love spells on their men. But you just had high levels of magnetism, because when you are meant to be a goddess, your auric field is going to resonate differently. This has nothing to do with anyone being better than someone else. It's just different. And, and so some of these things that are common that we experience is sexual abuse as well. This triggers these wounds to come into our awareness. And because the throat, the larynx of the throat is exactly the same geometry anatomically as the uterus, the entrance into the womb. And so the way the throat opens and closes, the functionality of the throat, the moisture, all of these things are an as above, so below symbology of the anatomical, spiritual anatomy of a woman. And so these wounds within the throat chakra oftentimes manifest with people being sexually inappropriate with us, usually at early ages. And many of us do have a goddess frequency, which is something that requires training, or it can be misunderstood and misused. And people, oftentimes would accuse feminine embodied beings like me and those who I'm talking to who resonate with this of being hypersexual or fast, promiscuous. She fast, she's promiscuous. But it was just the energy that is within us. And so the commonality of lumps in the throat from the specialists that I've seen was just mind-blowing for me to learn how common it is. And not only that, but the thyroid issues is so common now. And so many women have even had their thyroid removed. That gland is a very important gland, and it has a lot of occult principles centered around its functionality as it connects to spirituality as well. But when you look at the thyroid, you also see the shape of a butterfly. This is also not a coincidence. The shape of the butterfly is representation of the monarch butterfly specifically, because this butterfly has genetic encoding that's passed down to its children. So it never has to teach the children how to migrate and the divine timing to do so. It's something that's genetically passed down, very similar to the genetic encoding that's passed down through matrilineal DNA, which is the only way that scientists have been able to figure out how old certain cultures are, is through looking at the matrilineal DNA. Even the oldest human woman, quote unquote, that was found, because that's another conversation that I could get into another time, but they found her through the matrilineal DNA. And so it's very important, because if you had a past life where this happened to you, these are some of the symptoms that may show up in your life. And this creates a complexity that other people don't understand and won't understand. And it leads a lot of us to feeling like the lone wolf and the black sheep. And oftentimes we're the scapegoats in our families as well. So we're people that get blamed for things, because if your life was taken while you were being blamed for something and you were in strong resistance against that, you're becoming a vibrational match to blame. And so it creates this epigenetic encoding of guilt that we pick back up when we incarnate in our next lifetime, so that we could clear that karmic debt. And so a lot of us struggle with guilt. And a lot of women that struggle with mom guilt when they are caring for themselves is also connected to what some would call the witch wound, which simply means someone who had a lifetime where their life was taken because they were accused of being a witch. And so this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I have been choosing my topics based on the energy of what is coming to me through the Akashic records, versus just going through a list of topics and uploading them. So I hope that me doing this way energetically is going to have a stronger resonance. And if this information helped you in any way, let me know. in the comments. I would love to hear from you, because at the root, on the spiritual side of not being able to speak your truth, walking on eggshells, having people in your life that behave in a way that induces that behavior, the patterns in your life, from parents to partners, all of these things are connected. And on a spiritual level, for those of us that deal with codependency, which is I can't be okay unless everybody I'm connected to is okay. I can't be happy unless everybody I'm connected to can be happy. There's this sense of responsibility for other people's happiness. And it's something that's very deeply ingrained in us. It's not something that one book and one video is going to change. Not in my experience. This is something that I've been working on since 2014, and I'm recording this in 2025. So I am 11 years into healing these different patterns. But what I wanted to say was, if you struggle with stress and you can feel certain areas of the body tensing up, and maybe you live in fight or flight, and you're wanting to not have to be that way. You're desiring to have a more regulated nervous system, for your limbic system to be healthier. That's the mind-body connection, the signals that are sent throughout the mind and the body. On a somatic level, soma as in memory within the body, muscle memory, that all of those things are required to heal this. And so if you're only learning things and intellectualizing it, but not actually creating routines and making choices in your life that allow you to step out of this conditioning, then you're not going to have growth the way that you desire to. This is information that I haven't seen anywhere else except the Akashic records. And I just want to encourage you and let you know it can be done. Right now, there are certain astrological positions in place that's going to energize us, that's going to open up our subconscious mind, and that's bringing shadows to our awareness on a deeper level. And a lot of that is due to Venus being in retrograde, and I'm recording this in March of 2025. No matter when you hear this message will have timeless wisdom encoded within it. But this time period is triggering this and bringing this to the surface. And for a lot of us, there were prophecies about us coming into the world between the period of the mid-70s and forward. It was something really unique about Generation X and forward. And this is the rise of indigo children. Okay? And indigo is within the blue-violet spectrum of the prism that we call a rainbow. And so the throat chakra is blue. It's a deep blue. And so just to be called indigo children also has revealed to me that many of us who identify with this term, and you know because you'll feel a resonance when you hear it, even if you don't really know what it is, even if you haven't done research. See, resonance reigns supreme on the journey of those spiritually awakening. it's the GPS system for us. But we have been conditioned to not be in touch with our truth. Sometimes it's not about speaking it to other people, but your ability to speak the truth to your own self may even be difficult for you. And so they knew that there was going to be a large influx of souls coming into this world from those time periods where that is the way we were exiting the physical body at that time. They knew we were coming back. And this is the reason that so many decisions were made to do things that we're now learning is not good for our pineal gland, such as the things that we have found in water. And there are many other things, and I talk about this on my Patreon because it's okay for me to put this information there. So if you want to go deeper into that, check out the Patreon. It's over 400 posts there, and I'm adding content as it comes in to me. So it's really, really good information for people who enjoy popping red pills. With that being said, a lot of us were also considered gifted children. And a lot of us now identify with being neurodivergent, meaning some form of autism, some form of ADHD, even CPTSD can change the development of the brain. And so we identify with these things, we notice these differences, and a lot of this is because in a past life, we were accused and lives were taken. And so we are here now to bring balance into this world because of those things. Now, there isn't a specific aspect of this that connects to the type of parents we choose and partners we end up in relationships with. And you will notice connections if you start doing certain types of communication with different aspects of yourself through journaling. And so there are different things that you can do to activate this information, because the Akashic record is accessible to everyone who has a soul. It's certain activities and certain things that you must learn about yourself and emotional regulation that's going to allow you to access the Akashic records. Without those three things, it's not going to be accessible. And there is a certain level of emotional maturity that you must have as well, because everything that you access in the Akashic records is not going to feel good to know. And there are some things that I have tapped into and read in the Akashic library that left me having to go into solitude for days, sometimes weeks, and just embedding myself every day in certain practices to help me to digest the information that I've received. And so there is a certain level of emotional regulation that is required to access this information without it causing you harm. Because if it's going to cause you harm, if it's going to cause you to spiral out of control, the Akashic library is not going to allow itself to be accessible to you. And a lot of this work has to happen through the heart chakra. You can't get to the Akashic library through other chakras. And I know people probably say different, but from my experience, the heart is the gateway to the spiritual realm. And you cannot get there without being able to go through the heart. It's not something that I access through my mind. My mind picks up the information, but the heart is what magnetizes me to the information. And activation of compassion on a high level is the bridge, kind of, to the Akashic library. So it's through deep compassion. That way I'm not seeking this information and using it with ill intent. That's also something that's not allowed. So there are things that you must do to be aligned with this. And this is why I train people in using their intuition. There's a free ebook called Harnessing Your Sixth Sense, Mastering Intuition on my website at untamedsouls.com. And you can go and sign up for my free newsletter. And I send out really good information all the time. And you will also get that free ebook. So that's something that you could check out in the description. And throughout the course, Turn Pain into Purpose, I teach you a lot of the things that I needed to learn to get to the point where I am now in my journey. So if this was something that resonated with you, follow that resonance and see where it leads. Whether you choose to get the course, the free download, or you could just use the free complex PTSD assessment that I have on the website. And that's just to help give you an idea of what areas create the most stress for you, so that you're not wasting time, money, and energy trying to heal something, but really unsure what area is calling your attention. And that's what it's there for. And that's also free. But these are some things that you can start using now. And, I just wanted to, I was going to do a spread with my oracle cards with this. And I just decided to just channel this information to you all. But this is coming up right now. So if you are in a relationship and you're finding difficulty with expressing yourself, or maybe it doesn't seem like your partner energetically is open to receive your truth in certain things, just know, like, it's not a personal thing. It's nothing wrong with you or the person you're in a relationship with. The system that we have been conditioned by has a virus in this system. And that virus says that vulnerability, deep heart connection is not safe because it always left you getting hurt in the past. This is a really common subconscious belief that we carry. It's not something that we choose. It's something that was created in response to painful experiences as children. And until you have done inner child healing work consistently, that may be really strong, and that creates dynamics in our relationships. So just know it's not just you. You're not crazy. They not crazy. It doesn't always mean you got to break up, get divorced, or separated. Look at it as a spiritual mirror that you needed for your soul to show you what you are here for, what you are here to heal. And this will lead you to purpose, more empowerment. So let me know in the comments. I went way longer than I expected, but I'm actually recovering from getting my biopsy today. But this message, as I'm recovering, my throat chakra was like, we got to share this now. So I'm going to go back to my recovery, but I'd love to hear from you. If you want to check out the website, check out my spiritual shop, check out my courses, so many goodies on the website. Just go to the link in the description or the link in the bio, wherever you may listen to this at. And and if you want to book a reading, that's available as well. I will be making some changes to the way that I send readings, but I will send out an update about that soon. But yes, I hope that this was something that someone else needed other than me, because this information was nowhere to be found. I had to go through trial and error, and let me tell you, I have been through a lot of difficult shit to be able to make these things make sense that usually make no sense at all.